So I absolutely hated being a housewife. It's a terrible job. I mean, maybe some women like it. I didn't really know any. But it's kind of like, Ben would throw himself into his job where he was in an office. He got a lot of respect, got paid, and I was alone, lonely, just doing the things that need to be done in a house, right? When you have kids. And taking care of the kids. I love taking care. A lot of the times, I like taking care of the kids. But I have to be honest. I had a lot of help. Right, I had a maid. I had childcare. I had a lot of help, and I still fucking hated that job. It's a terrible job. It's a slave labor job. You don't need a mind to be a housewife, but these are things that need to get done in a house, and I hated it. And it took up so much of my time. And also just to be, it's really important for children that their mother is there and present and available emotionally and time-wise. And that took a lot of energy, right? Being available for my children. It took a lot of carving out time for them. And that I was okay with because I love my kids. But I was making a sacrifice for our family, like enormous sacrifice, right? I'm a titan of industry kind of person, clearly, right? As soon as my kids were old enough, I was like out the door, took off like a rocket ship in my career. And that's my preference, I not to say I loved being with my little kids and I loved raising my kids, but a marriage is intentionally meant to be a partnership, a legal partnership, right? 50-50. And that's not happening. And it's because it's so important for someone to be there raising your kids, for their minds, for their character, for their whole life, right? It's so important for us to be available to them. And also we're community building. Right? The moms are like building the community that's holding the child. It takes a village, etc. And those 50-50 laws are meant to protect our labor, and we're being defrauded. I have been hugely defrauded. And we see on TikTok all the time that women are being completely defrauded. These laws are not being enforced. Don't get married. That just as a general rule, do not get married to a man right now. I don't care how nice he is. It doesn't matter. You're not protected by the laws. Don't do it. No woman should be marrying a man right now. It puts you in such extreme financial danger. Don't do it. And so I kind of liken, it's a partner. It's a legal partnership. Marriage is a legal partnership. And it's kind of like in a startup situation and tech startups, usually there's commonly two founders, right? There's the founder who is product, who's creating the product and focusing on the product and focusing on creating the best, most attractive product you can create. And then the other guy is like sales or business. It's called business development, which is really sales. And so the business development sales guys out there bringing in potential customers, bringing in potential investors, and the product guy, and they're almost always guys, right? Because women aren't being funded. I build it all on my own money, my product. And that's different. I mean, it shouldn't be different, right? That there's two men versus a woman and a man in a marriage. But anyway, so this is the typical, and it's a partnership, right? Like if the product guy isn't busy creating an amazing product, the business development guy doesn't have anything to sell, right? And if the business development guy isn't out there pitching how incredible this product is, then they're not bringing in any money or investors. So they rely on each other. And that's a key word in a partnership. You rely on each other. And you can't have successful businesses without people relying on each other. And you can't have successful marriages without people relying on each other. And no one, you'd have to be insane to, as a woman, to rely on a man in the legal situation that we're in right now. Do not get married. So anyway, so frequently these partnerships are struggle, right? And a lot of times they break up, and then there's litigation, right? And oftentimes the business development sales guy far sees his contributions as far more important than the product guy. I wonder where they learned this, right? So they go to court and then they have to settle, and usually it's like the judge is like, hey, it's 50-50. You're a legal partnership, it's 50-50. But in a marriage, it's very similar, right? The mom who's the caretaker, taking care of the home and the kids, is the product guy. And the husband is the sales guy. He's out there bringing in the money, while the product, which is the happiness, the health, the well-being of the family and the children and so forth, is the mom. But in a marriage partnership, no one is protecting the product guy, who's the woman. Who's a woman. It's just presumed that the only one bringing in value is the guy who's bringing in the money. And that's insane. It's criminal. What happens to me is criminal. What's happening to women all across this country is completely insane and criminal. And it certainly isn't going to set us up for a happy marriages going forward. Because I'm telling women, and I mean, we see this all over TikTok, right? Women are just saying, divorce him, right? And then, insanely, because we are accurately seeing reality for us and what's happening and the insanely illegal, unjust, horrific situation we're in. And then the men say things like, oh, you're so awful. Oh, you're man haters. Oh, you're like just completely blind to what is happening to us that they would never tolerate for themselves. Never.